Hey everyone, it's Wulfrun here, and following on from my mining videos, which you can check out the links for below, and I should have one up here, showing you the basics of mining, reprocessing, taking you through that process of money. The last real way of making money in this game is that of industry. And I want to look at, in this video, the basics of industry. Industry is a huge topic to cover, and I'll be covering it in several videos, a couple more detailed videos, in terms of manufacturing and the ins and outs of it. But in this video I'm just going to cover the basics of how to do that. And so we're going to look at blueprints, and we're going to look at manufacture. And so in order to do that, we're going to have to go look at the industry tab from your character tab. As you can see here, we'll click industry, and then you've got two sides. You've got reverse engineering on the right hand side, and you have manufacture on the left hand side. So we're going to look at both in this video, but first we're going to look at reverse engineering jobs. Reverse engineering is basically creating blueprints from which you can then create the necessary items for the game. The blueprints themselves can be sold, that's without any real difficulty, and they can make money on their own, so you can look at that. And equally, you can then go on to manufacture things to make even more money from things. So if we go through and look at the reverse engineering jobs themselves, here we've got a selection of different things. You can basically make ship blueprints, frigates, destroyers, cruisers. The ones I've got highlighted up are the ones I can actually make. The ones in grey are the ones I've not either got the skills for or I've got the requisite parts for. So what you'll see on each of them is you'll have ship debris on the left. In fact, I'll just take you through these things. Oh, sorry, of course, the industrial ships is one of the mainstays, makes you decent money. Venture 3s I make a fair bit of, but we're going to look at frigates. So we're going to look at the Imicus Covert Ops frigate. That sells for a decent amount of money. I can generally sell the actual frigate for about 10 million, and I think the blueprint itself sells for around 2 million. And we look here, what you need is the ship debris, and you need data cores. Ship debris, relatively easy to find. It's a Galente ship. The Imicus Covert Ops needs Galente ship debris. It's a level 5 Tech 5 ship, so you need level 5 ship debris. So as you can see, I've got that there. It's now showing 1 out of 2 with a chance of success at 48%. We're going to talk about skills in a bit later in the video. We're going to put timestamps for everything below so you can jump to the relevant sections. Skills affect your success rate. Also, what affects your success rate is the number of debris you use for the particular ship. So if I only use 1 debris, I will have a success rate of 48%. That is a slider. Many people don't realise that. You can slide it across and you can use 2, which ups my success rate to 96%. Basically, 4 out of 100 times it won't be successful. The other thing you need in order to create this blueprint are data cores. Now, data cores are found from anomalies which you can get via ratting. I've never really done enough ratting to come across them. I simply buy them on the open market, but you can get the ship debris from ratting. You'll find loads of it. I have absolutely loads of it. Of course, if you want ships for stuff that's not in your area, you can buy it on the market without much difficulty. The ship debris itself is not that expensive, except ore ships. Ore ship debris is more expensive. Data cores are some are expensive, some are less expensive, and we're going to have a look at the data cores themselves. So we've got the electromagnetic physics data core, which I don't think is an expensive one, and you can see if I need to go buy it, about 12,000 plus 13, maybe 15,000 for it. Plenty of them available. You need 2 for the Imicus Covert Ops, so it's not really a big deal. 30,000 ISK. The Starship Engineering one, I think there's always one that's very expensive and one that's not, and this one is much more expensive. You can see 180,000, but I generally expect to pay about 200,000 for it. And so if I wanted to buy it at my station, I think it's 200,000. Although, yeah, I'm going to quickly just buy this one, but it's 180,000 at my station. As you see, it takes 2 of those to build this. In addition to that, it's going to cost you 15,000 ISK just to create it, and it's going to take about 6 minutes on my current skill level. That'll be skill dependent, and as I said, we will go through the skills for it. So if I start that job, you can see that being created. Right, that's started, so it's going to take 6 minutes to go through, and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, that's almost done now, so in a couple of seconds it will count down and you'll get a notification that the job's completed. You can have two reverse engineering jobs at any one time. In fact, you can have, you see, loads of them as you level up the skill. At the moment I'm not that high with it, so I've been focusing on the other skills for this. And we click through and there it's completed. If you don't succeed, like in the 4% of time, other ships have a much lower level, can be down to like 60-70% chance, then you'll get a notification unsuccessful, you've lost all the products, you've lost your money, and you'll have to have another go or find it. So I'll just go show you the blueprint in my hangar. No, sorry, that was my mistake. I'm in the wrong place, so we'll be back in a second. And so we're back, and I just want to show you they're the blueprints that I've got. The Imicus Covert Ops blueprint is the one we've just created, and as you can see, it's there. If I go to the market details, yeah, I can probably sell it for about 1 million. About 1 million ISK. Let's just see if I click on sell if there's any buy orders. 560,000. I'll get it straight off. If I want to do, you've got to bear in mind your costs were, in terms of, we should go back and look at the reverse engineering tab. You've got to bear in mind the costs are relatively high. The ship debris, if you didn't get it from ratting and bought it, I think it's, I don't know, 10 or 20,000 a ship. So if we say that's 40,000 there, you've got your data core. It cost you more than 12,000. Let's say 15,000 for ease, so that's 30,000. That's cost you 70,000. This one's going to cost you about 200,000, so it's 470. So it's going to cost you 485,000 to have made. Might get it cheaper if you do other things, but that's roughly right. So 480,000. You've got to bear in mind when you sell it, you will be paying a broker's fee and your sales tax. Do not ever forget that you pay those. And so, for example, selling this for 500,000 will mean you make a loss because your sales tax at 15%, 15% sales tax means that you're going to have 75,000 ISK there. Broker's fee 7%. So again, you're looking at maybe coming close to 90,000 ISK. I haven't done the maths, sorry. If you want to do it, I'm sure you can figure it out. And so if you sold it for 500,000, you're going to get 410,000 profit. That won't even cover the 2 data cores, well, barely covers the 2 expensive data cores. So that's something to bear in mind with the prices. Make sure you are actually making a profit. It is worth checking that the blueprints do sell for a decent amount of money, because you can make blueprints which do not. I think certainly if you were looking at Tech 4 stuff, the blueprints do not sell for good money. So that's in terms of reverse engineering. We're going to move on what you can do with the blueprint instead of selling it. And instead of selling it, you can manufacture. That's the left side of the screen. And what it shows here is, you can see at the top, I've got 14 blueprints available. That's the feature that's not available yet. There's a feature down there. I think that might be command modules. Don't worry about that. But I've got 14 available blueprints. So I can access my blueprints in 2 different ways. I can either click through there, find which ones I have available blueprints for, like Imicus Covert Ops. It'll take me through to that screen. Or, and I frankly think this is much easier, just click on the blueprints. I can see which blueprints I have. And I'm looking at the Imicus Covert Ops. I can get the details on it if I want, but I find it most useful just to click on through, and then it will show you this screen, similar to the reverse engineering screen. And what of course it'll tell you is you need the blueprint itself. On the left hand side I've got one of those blueprints so I can make the Imicus Covert Ops ship. And then what you're also going to need are materials. And for the ships, mostly you'll need planetary materials, which you'll mine, or you can buy on the market. Frankly, you cannot mine enough of the planetary materials. You will have to buy most of them for the purposes of building ships. And you will also require the minerals that you'll get from the mining. So I'm going to make another plug. I've got 2 videos on the mining, reprocessing, all those things. These all things will make making these ships cheaper, which means you get a bigger profit overall. So if I just look firstly at planetary materials, as you can see, this one requires lustring alloy, sheen compound, motley compound based metals, heavy metals. I can tell you now, I mostly have got my mining array, planetary arrays, on lustring and base metals. The rest I've had to buy. Luckily, if you haven't got the materials for it, and I'm just going to show you one which I think I haven't got materials for, Venture 2, Venture 3. So you see it'll show I haven't got all the planetary materials, I need more precious alloy. I can either click purchase materials, which will basically bring it all up. I'm going to buy it that way. I don't find it the most useful way because I can't see where it is, and it will tell me buying all the materials, particularly because I need Noxium in the minerals, is going to cost me an absolute fortune. But if I can also just click on through precious alloy, go to the market, find the precious alloy where I want, so I can buy it as close as possible. So G so close to me has mountains of precious alloy at 169. Obviously if I get it cheaper that'd be even better, but you sort of weigh all these different things up and you can buy it that way. So that's showing you there. So planetary materials I generally will have to buy. I don't produce enough of them in order to do the building. So what we're looking at, Imicus. In terms of minerals, you'll find the majority of ships at the moment need titanium, pyrite, mexallion and isogen. You will find, like the Venture 3, we need Noxium as well. Noxium is the most expensive out of all of them. Mexallion is difficult to come across in the amounts that you need, as is isogen, titanium and pyrite. Generally there's plenty of. I would suggest that you can mine for these things and get a lot more profit. That's one of the focuses you can do. I mean, obviously if you buy it all you'll make a lot less profit, but you might speed it up. So it's really a balance for your gameplay as to how you do it. Just to demonstrate, so if I want isogen, this requires 2,854 isogen. If I go to the market, I mean isogens, relatively cheap, but I'd have to buy up pretty much everything there. And even then I'm not entirely sure. No, it won't get close. Well, no, it might just, no, I don't think there's quite enough there. So I mean that's one of the problems with those rarer metals, minerals. You will have to, I think, go mine at the time being, because at the moment you're not going to find the quantities you want. So in addition to that, you basically then, once you've got the blueprint ready, once you've got all the materials ready, as you can see I've got material efficiency of 126%. That's because of my skills. You'll have to skill up, you get better material, you get better efficiency on it, and then you have to pay for example, the Imicus Covert Ops costs 650,000 ISK to manufacture. So if I now start this job, and it's going to take about 28 minutes to manufacture. I'll leave that, I'm not going to come back to it because you get the picture. Once the ship's being created, just like any other ship, you can, I don't think I've got any ships waiting to sell in the inventory at the moment, but yeah, by way of example, they're all active ships. I could that's why no one sells. No, you can't actually sell it. I'm not going to repackage one of the ships. So anyway, so I mean, basically you can go to the market and sell them. If I just show you the market. Okay, the market finally loaded, and if I go look at the ships, frigates, there's the Imicus. So just to see by comparison, if you made Imicus, which is a tier 3 ship, 120,000, I actually don't know how much it would cost, but it's probably not going to be worthwhile at all. The Imicus Covert Ops prices at the moment, 7 million. In fact, I've previously sold them for 10, but obviously the price is fluctuating all over the place. 7 million, well, I mean, if you look at the blueprint, it's probably going to cost you, it's under 500,000, about 480,000 I think we said. You've got another 650,000 in terms of just the ISK to create the... You've got 650,000 ISK to create the Imicus itself, and then of course you've got the costs of the planetary materials. Generally, planetary materials aren't going to cost you an absolute fortune. Minerals are going to cost you a lot of money. You're going to have to go do the calculations and figure it all out yourself, or wait for my next video, which is going to go into much more depth about how to do the cost analysis in terms of industry. So that is the overview of industry that I wanted to show you, how you can make money and do various different jobs with it. One of the things we need to look at, of course, are the skills. I know my videos are relatively long, so again, timestamps are in the bottom of various things, and the skills needed for industry. There's going to be 2 sets of skills. One set which goes for the blueprints and the reverse engineering, and then one set that goes for industry. As you see, I'm currently researching frigate manufacture level 5. But if we have a look in terms of the applied science, now this is to do with the reverse engineering. This increases your chances of success, and I think it reduces the cost. But you have all of this is to do with that. You have invention, which is for the individual factions, and for example, if I want to do Minotaur ships, I've increased it to level 4, and as you see, it increases the speed, increases the success rate, and if I hit level 5, I'll get an extra job for it. And so that is effectively where you want to look. You may want to look at specialising in one particular faction's ships. At the moment, I've spread out across several to speed up basically the Caldari, a little bit of Galente and Minmatar at the moment, because also I have specialised significantly into, and if I find it, or invention principles, and that's for the Venture 3. If you, as you can see, I have increased that to level 5, maxed it out. By doing level 5, I can do Venture 3 at a success rate of 96%. I can't even get it to 100% yet. I think I've got to increase on the advanced and that just increases engineering and research speed. Success rate will be, then you can see level 3 success rates will go up, and so we'll need to look at that. And so it depends on what you want to specialise in. If you want to do the transport ships, then you can look at the Interbus principles. If you want to do the Mammoth, that's a Minmatar ship, which is partly why I've been looking at Minmatar, but you can also do the Talwar, you can do what have I done recently? I thought I'd just quickly show you in terms of Minmatar ships. Oh, the Thrashers. You can also get the Caracal, which is a very popular ship that sells for a decent amount of money. I've produced some cormorants just to see what you can do. So in terms of skills, that's to do with reverse engineering. Pick what you want, develop it how you want, do it. Sorry, I want to look at reverse engineering. You can look at all of it, look at a little bit of it. It's really up to you how you develop that. It's a lot of investment though to get it up. Now in terms of the actual manufacturing side, so that was dealing with reverse engineering. The manufacturing side is under industrial technology. Equally, there's quite a lot to do with that. We're going to look at these are luckily they're not done by faction, otherwise you'd be there forever. These just look at the various different types of ships. So again, you'll see my industrial ship manufacture, I've put a lot of stuff into it to develop that. You can do the same for As you see, frigates, I'm doing that. It reduces your overall costs by, I think, at the moment I've got a 30% reduction, a 24% reduction, and it'll go up to a 30% reduce the time. In fact, level 5 will give me 2 extra manufacturing jobs. And so you can build from there. It all depends on what you want to build. I've leveled up destroyers and cruisers. No doubt, I think I'm probably going to level up cruisers to 5 next, because I've certainly like stabbers. The caracals sell for quite a lot of money. They take a lot more material, so you've still got to look at the figures to see what works out best. So that's what you need to know in terms of skills. The last thing I'll cover in terms of manufacturing is it's not just ships. So if I just go back to manufacturing, you can, we can't look at manufacturing jobs, but you can produce rigs and other matters. You'll find blueprints. You can't make the blueprints at the moment, but you will find the blueprints in the market. So for example, the miner efficiency upgrade, and that is something very useful for miners. And again, it's the same principle, but instead you have to use salvaged parts. So just so you understand the difference with salvaged parts is if you go to your ship debris, items. These are salvaged parts here, charred microcircuits, mass trigger, etc., and they come from ship debris. So you have here, I've got a load of ship debris. I could do Caldari ship debris. If I reprocess it, you'll see it produces 7.41 charred microcircuit, 2.73 defective current pump, and then you can use those to create the modules, and each of the modules is going to, the rigs for example, is going to require different things. And so again, it's the same process going through in terms of making sure you've got the right materials to manufacture, so you can reprocess those. I'd certainly be looking at, again, debris is not expensive to get, except the damaged ore holes. They are expensive. Yeah, so about 200. They're about 200,000 plus, and Adventure 3 requires 5 of them if you want to go for the max success rate with them. So that's something to bear in mind, especially if you look at reprocessing, what they produce in terms of reprocessing. You want to be careful, and in terms of skills, there are skills associated with reprocessing. No, wrong tab. So it's industrial technology, resource reprocessing. If I take it down to the bottom, I think scrap metal processing, and as you see, it increases the amount of reprocessing you get from the ships, but also from the other things. You know, if I ever get a Mark 1 missile system from some sort of anomaly, I will just reprocess it, because frankly you get almost nothing for it on the market. I don't bother trying to sell Mark 1 stuff. If you're very early on, by all means sell it to get the ISK. I reprocess it just to get what little bit of minerals I can, but also that skill improves reprocessing for getting the matters out of the debris. So that covers the basics of industry. I recognise this is quite a long video, I'm sorry for that. I would have broken it up into several matters, but we'll go back. I'm going to do a more in-depth look at particularly manufacturing in my next video, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching to the end. If you watched to the end, give me a sub, give me a like. I'm still building in respect of Eve Echoes, and you'll see I do a couple of other games as well. Thanks a lot.